Hello, I'm Dr. Brian Fraser, and in this video I'll be showing how to use the terminal from inside IntelliJ, plus how to run your application through a jar and create that jar. And to demonstrate the power of a jar, we're going to be importing an external library. We're going to import Gson, which is Google's JavaScript object notation processing language or library. So the first thing is I've got a project here, a standard Java project that I've created. I called it MyTerminalDemo. I under source added a package, CA_MyDemo, and I have my main class here, which is just a simple main function that prints out any arguments. So I'm going through, this is the array strings called Args. It's the command line arguments, and I'm simply going to go through it with a for each loop. So for each string s in Args, I'm going to print that string to the screen. Okay, so before we get too far into using the terminal, let me just start by we're going to bring in Gson. So Gson support. So the basic code for this, I'm just going to instantiate a Gson object. Gson equals new Gson. The capital being the one with the class name. Now it doesn't know what this is. If I Alt-Enter, it's going to, do you want to create this class? No, I don't want to create it. I want to bring it in from the actual Gson libraries. So I can do that using the Maven build system. So I go to Project Structure, so File, Project Structure, and then under Libraries, I'm going to add a library from Maven. I need to give it the location for where Maven can pull that in from. So you can look online to find these sorts of locations. The location I want for Gson is com/google/code/Gson:2.8.2. I'll say OK. Yes, I wanted this in the project, and it pulls it in. So that's OK. And now back in here, it says, oh, hey, I've got an idea. I'm going to hit Alt-Enter. I'm going to say import class. And it then now can say this import, and it's correctly inside my system. If I were to run this, now let's add another thing down here, s out for the shortcut, and I'm going to say done, Gson equals, and then I'm going to concatenate Gson, effectively calling the two strings. So I'll put that in here just for explicitness. So I'm going to take my Gson object and I'm going to switch it over and call toString on it, and that'll just give me some output to the screen. So let me just run this. So I'm going to go to Run, and we're going to select MyMain, and now it actually executes correctly. If I hadn't gone through the Maven steps, it would tell me that it's unable to find the Gson class. Okay, so now what happens if I want to actually run this through the terminal? It gets a little more complicated because I need to bundle it up together into a jar file or somehow provide the class path on how to run it. So we could actually analyze what goes on here on this first line of the terminal to figure out exactly what IntelliJ is giving Java to run, but that gets a little complicated. So let's go and build the jar file to start with. So I'm going to go to File, Project Structure. Now I'm going to go under Artifacts and add a new artifact. I'm going to say I want a jar file from the module with dependencies, because I do have some dependencies. The module is the one I'm currently in, and I need to specify my main class. So I'm going to go back here under Source. This is the class that has a main method that I want to execute when someone runs my jar file. And so we can see here that it has added this extracted Gson jar file. So that's the library, and it knows where to pull it in from based on the rest of the build system. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to include in project build, meaning I'm going to regenerate this jar file every time. If I wanted to, I could change the location of it, but I'm going to leave it for defaults just for this demo. So let's say OK, go build project, and we can see down at the bottom it has just finished building in 2 seconds. Now let's go to the terminal. So the terminal you can access down here on the bottom left. I'm going to pop up the terminal. And from here I want to now run my code. The code, if I look here under the out folder, under production, I can expand all the way down here, and here's the class file that I could run. But that gets a little bit complicated, especially since now I've got this jar file that I want to run it through, and the jar file has all of my dependencies. So to run this, I can simply say Java -jar, and then I can specify where I want to find it. So I'm going to go out / artifacts / MyTerminal demo _jar. You can probably do tab complete if you're on a Linux system doing this. Just because I've got / here, it's not going to work under Windows. Oh no, maybe it will. Yeah, no, it won't. MyTerminal demo.jar. So if I run this, we can see it gets all the output here. This is actually what we were expecting because it says done. That's my done, and then it gives me this whole serialized version of what the Gson object is. So that's in fact exactly what I was looking for. Now let's go and provide it some arguments, because we've got this code that's going to iterate through and display all the arguments. So I'm going to hit up and then put in hello world, it's me. I'll run that. I'm going to scroll back up through my output, and we can see here that it has gone through and found all of the arguments I passed in, and then it still gave me the Gson object that I'm expecting as pulled in from the external dependencies. So this is great now if I wanted to maybe accept a parameter in my application for an input file or something. I can do that by accessing the array of arguments and building my Gson external dependency into this jar file. Alright, thank you very much for watching.